Right now on Morning News Now, Kamala Harris hits the campaign trail, embracing her likely showdown with former President Trump.
As a prosecutor, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Well, Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse.
As the vice president lays out her case against Donald Trump, the former president is ramping up his own attacks. We have the latest on the race for the White House. Plus, a look ahead as President Biden prepares to speak to the nation for the first time since dropping out of the race. Also this morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu set to address Congress today. But the controversial leader is already facing pushback from protesters and some Democrats. What we know about his speech. And we will speak with the family of an American hostage being held by Hamas. Plus, stepping down, the head of the Secret Service says she's resigning after being grilled by lawmakers for failing to prevent the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Where the agency goes from here amid growing calls for change. And returning history, why an American museum is giving back hundreds of artifacts and why they hope it is the start of a growing trend.
Good to have you with us on another busy news day on this Wednesday. I'm Joe Fryer.
I'm Vicki Wynn in for Savannah Sellers this morning, and we're going to begin in Washington as President Biden is set to deliver a primetime address tonight from the White House, explaining his decision to drop his re-election bid for president.
He's also expected to lay out his priorities for the 6 months left in his term. That's according to a source familiar with his remarks. Mr. Biden returned to Washington yesterday after spending the past week in Delaware recovering from COVID. The president dropped out of the race on Sunday after weeks of pressure from fellow Democrats to step aside. His poll numbers dropped and fundraising plummeted following his debate performance last month against former President Trump.
Meanwhile, Vice President Harris held her first campaign rally yesterday in suburban Milwaukee since she became the de facto Democratic nominee after enough delegates have endorsed Ms. Harris to win the party's nomination. Now, she discussed the importance of the campaign with her supporters.
Let's also make no mistake, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. This campaign is about who we fight for.
Leading us off this morning, NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Monica, good morning. So let's begin with Vice President Harris, her first campaign rally as a candidate for president this year. What was her message to voters? Did the mood feel different at yesterday's event?
It was the largest event of the former Biden campaign, now Harris campaign to date, meaning there were more people there than had ever gathered in an event or rally like that for President Biden. So I think that was significant in terms of trying to capture the enthusiasm that Democrats hope will provide a little bit of momentum here. And then you saw Vice President Harris there talking about how she plans to prosecute the case against Donald Trump, but also trying to frame it in a larger context about the contrast. Listen to a little bit of that.
We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will make sure every American has the ability to cast their ballot and have it counted. Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward. He and his extreme Project 2025 agenda will weaken the middle class.
And basically, she will now have given a speech almost every day since launching her campaign. It was Monday at campaign headquarters, yesterday in Milwaukee. Today, she goes to Indianapolis, and tomorrow she'll be in Houston, Texas, speaking at the American Teachers Federation convention, guys.
Busy schedule. Monica, the Trump campaign has filed a new complaint with the Federal Elections Commission against the Harris campaign. This because of campaign finance laws and funds that were originally part of the Biden campaign. What do we need to know about that?
Yeah, so essentially that apparatus was just transferred. When Joe Biden decided to leave the race, they said, okay, we're going to hand it all over to now the Harris for President operation. And Democrats feel confident that this suit won't have much standing because her name was already on the ticket. That's what they've argued. They're going to say they think it will hold up in court, but we'll just have to see exactly how the DNC process plays out in case there are any wrinkles there.
Monica, let's talk about President Biden's speech from the Oval Office tonight. It's different from LBJ's speech in 1968 when he stunned the nation and announced he would not seek another term. Still, this is going to be history. So what can we expect to hear from the president?
Absolutely. And it was just a little over a week and a half ago that he was giving an Oval Office address about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. And look at everything that has shifted in the race since then. So he's going to be talking about how he got to this decision to bow out, why it was a difficult one, why he decided to endorse his vice president to be the Democratic nominee, they hope. But then also he's going to try to lay out a roadmap for the future, we understand, and these last 6 months in office. He's going to try to say, I want to tackle a couple of things. I want to introduce a couple of key reforms, and maybe he's going to argue that there are one or two things left that he can still do while in office. Though we all know that once you're a lame duck president, that's a lot more difficult, especially with the Congress that we have at this time.
And especially with the elections so close. All right, Monica, thank you so much. And we will bring you live coverage of President Biden's address from the Oval Office. It gets underway tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, here on NBC News Now as well as on NBC.
Well, with many Democrats now standing behind Vice President Harris in the race for the White House, the announcement of her campaign has given Gen Z voters a much-needed energy boost.
That's important because young adults could be one of the most influential voting blocs in this year's election. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton spoke with some of those voters. She's here in studio with more on what they had to say. Antonia, good morning.
Good morning, guys. In Michigan specifically, the youth vote is extremely important. That state has the highest youth voter turnout of any state in the nation. And so the Democrats, if they want to get their polling up there, they really have to talk to these voters. They're now taking a bit of a closer look at Kamala Harris. Take a look.
In battleground Michigan, young voters are processing President Joe Biden's historic decision to exit the race. Already, momentum is shifting to his vice president, Kamala Harris.
I think she really has an opportunity now to rebrand herself and introduce herself to the country in a new way.
These Gen Zers are all Democrats and have never had the opportunity to vote for a president who wasn't in their 70s or 80s.
What do you think it is about her?
We know that she's a powerhouse speaker.
She has a level of authenticity that, you don't always see from politicians.
For weeks, young people have been sharing memes across social media, highlighting Harris's speeches and affectations. One Gen Z favorite,
"You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?"
A May 2023 speech in which Harris shared something her mother used to say.
"You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?" You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Growing up, I didn't think that an Indian woman like me could even be involved in politics.
They're worried about reproductive rights, gun control, and climate change.
She has been the Biden campaign's most effective messenger on the issue of abortion access and reproductive freedom.
But young people have been unsure about Biden. In Michigan, a state with a large Muslim population, many communities are outraged by the Israel-Hamas war and grateful to Harris, who has long pushed for a ceasefire.
That's the bare minimum that we've been asking for. And I think the main issue is that we're not seeing any change. I think we will stay uncommitted until we can build trust.
A Tufts University study found Michigan had the highest youth turnout in the nation in 2022.
I feel like this country has a long history of not really listening to the younger population, and I think Gen Z is just at a point where we're just tired of feeling unheard.
Do you think she's still going to have to fight to earn the youth vote?
Oh, yeah.
But for now, they say, she's been able to breathe new life into an election they thought had gone stale.
Yeah, these voters, they tell me they're going to be watching her very closely in the coming days. They want to see, what does she say about abortion while she's out on the campaign trail? How does she talk about the climate? Does she talk about housing and all our fears about being able to afford the high cost of living in this country right now? The other thing I think we should all keep an eye on is what happens as all these students go back to school in the fall. Are there renewed protests over the war? And are they looking to this nominee, potential nominee, to say something different than what we've seen from the administration in recent months? I think that's really where we're going to see the biggest test of her relationship with young people.
Really fascinating when you pointed out this is the first election that they're voting for someone who's not in their 70s or 80s. I mean, think about that, right?
They kept bringing that up.
Okay. All right, Antonia Hilton, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, later today on Capitol Hill, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will attempt to shore up U.S. support for Israel's war in Gaza. He's going to deliver a highly controversial address to a joint session of Congress. At the same time, the Prime Minister is facing mounting pressure to make some kind of deal for Israel hostages who have now been held by Hamas for 9.5 months.
Netanyahu is expected to meet separately with President Biden and Vice President Harris tomorrow tomorrow, while a meeting with former President Trump has been scheduled for Friday. Netanyahu's visit is sparking protests in D.C. from both anti-war demonstrators and hostage families that are urging him to secure a deal for the hostages' release. Now, inside the Capitol Hill's Cannon building, yesterday, hundreds of Jewish protesters from the group Jewish Voice for Peace staged a sit-in. They were calling for an immediate ceasefire and for the U.S. to stop providing arms to Israel. Police say about 200 protesters were arrested. Netanyahu's speech is also dividing Congress, with dozens of Democratic lawmakers planning to boycott the address, including Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen.
All of us who care about our partnership, both in America and in Israel, should understand the enormous damage that Prime Minister Netanyahu and his current extremist government coalition are doing to our relationship and to Israel's standing in the world. So, Mr. President, it sends a terrible message to bring him here now to address a joint session of Congress.
We're joined now by NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale and NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez, who's in Tel Aviv. Good morning to both of you. Ali, tensions clearly running high in Washington over this visit. What are we hearing from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle ahead of this speech, and how many Democrats are actually expected to skip it?
Well, what you heard there from Senator Van Hollen is actually indicative of what most Democrats say who are skipping the speech, or at least thinking about skipping the speech. Right now, we have dozens on our tracker in terms of people who say they're not going to be in attendance today. Some people, though, say they're still deciding, feeling like maybe they should sit there even though they disagree. Others, of course, saying that they will be there because they want to show their support with Israel. And we do see a partisan breakdown when it comes to that. Republicans yesterday were emphatic about the fact that they were lashing out at Democrats for saying they didn't want to be there. Speaker Mike Johnson actually told me that he took particular umbrage with the fact that Vice President Harris and the highest-ranking Senate Democrat, Patty Murray, both said they would not be at the speech. Johnson will be seated next to the head of the Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Ben Cardin. And as Johnson pointed out correctly, Cardin is a retiring senator, so he doesn't have any of the necessary political baggage that could come with being in the same frame as Netanyahu or as attending this speech today. Some other politicians on the Hill say that's part of their calculation because, as Antonio was pointing out, this is an active election issue as well as a big foreign policy speech.
Ali, thank you. Let's bring Raf in. Raf, talk about Netanyahu's message to Congress today. And what do you know about these meetings that he is expected to have with Biden, Harris, and Trump?
So, Vicky, what the families of American hostages would like the Prime Minister to say today in front of the world's media with that massive platform of a joint session of Congress is that he is agreeing to a deal with Hamas to end the war and to finally bring their loved ones home nearly 300 days after the October 7th terror attack. It is very unlikely we are going to hear that from the Prime Minister today. Instead, expect to hear him thank both Republicans and Democrats for American support for Israel during the war. Expect him to talk about the threat from Iran and its proxies in Lebanon, in Yemen, and across the Middle East. And potentially also to hear from the Prime Minister about his hopes of one day making a peace deal with Saudi Arabia. That is something that President Biden had hoped to get done before the end of his term. It is now looking pretty unlikely. As you mentioned, the president is going to meet with Netanyahu tomorrow at the White House. And we are also expecting the Israeli leader to meet with Vice President Harris. Now, that will be really interesting because President Biden, Prime Minister Netanyahu, as they both like to say, have known each other for 40 years. But the relationship with Vice President Harris is a lot newer. These are two people who don't know each other as well. The vice president is not as overtly pro-Israel as President Biden. And then on Friday, Prime Minister Netanyahu heading down to Florida, to Mar-a-Lago, to meet former President Trump, a man he knows extremely well. And while President Trump was extremely supportive of Israel in office, the two men actually had a relationship that soured pretty dramatically towards the end of the former president's term. Yes.
So, Raf, we know you're watching the developments in Gaza where more Palestinians are being forced to flee Han Yunis amid that massive Israeli assault. What is the latest there?
Yeah, Joe, so Israeli forces once again in Gaza's second largest city on the ground. They've been pummeling the city with intense airstrikes. More than 40,000 people have been ordered to evacuate, and some of those are people who had been sheltering in the so-called humanitarian zone near the coast. So these are people who had already left their homes, going in search of safety to an area that Israel designated as at least safer, and now they have been told to leave once again. The Israeli military says that they are pursuing Hamas fighters who have regrouped in the city of Han Yunis. I can tell you guys, I've been to Han Yunis several times since the start of the war. There is almost nothing left there. The scale of destruction is hard to comprehend. But it is worthwhile noting that for many, this is the fear that Israel is basically mounting an endless war in Gaza, and it is going to return to these cities again and again and again. Guys.
Raf, thank you. Ali, while we have you, we understand Democratic Senator Bob Menendez is resigning next month after he was convicted in his corruption trial. Can you tell us more about the timeline and what we can expect?
That's exactly right. NBC News had reported this almost a week ago, but Bob Menendez now sending a letter to the New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy saying that his resignation will be effective August 20th. That's just under a month from now. And we have a little bit of an understanding of what might be in play for that date. He could resign anytime, but the fact that there are 2 pay periods in there could allow his staff to at least have a little bit of breathing room and space before their office gets turned over to whoever Murphy ends up appointing to finish out the rest of Menendez's term.
All right.
Guys.
Ali, Raf, lots to cover. Thank you so much.
We want to bring in now Ronen and Orna Nutra for more on this. They are the parents of American hostage Omer Nutra, who has now been held hostage for 291 days. Ronen and Orna, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate you. We understand that you were among a group of families that met with Prime Minister Netanyahu on Monday. What did he tell you about his efforts to bring your son home, and what are you hoping to hear today?
Good morning. Yeah, we met with Prime Minister Netanyahu just as he landed in the United States. We welcomed him, and we wanted to hear, as parents of American Israeli hostage, what's his plan to release the hostages. We hear that the authorities in Israel, the army, the Minister of Defense are all saying that they're about to wrap up the activities in Gaza. Hamas has been, for the most part, defeated, and they're ready for the deal. And we want to hear Prime Minister Netanyahu announcing the deal as he's speaking in front of Congress today.
You both just gave a primetime speech during the Republican National Convention last week. I know you told the Washington Post you don't like to talk about your personal political affiliations, but you say you weren't there to chant Trump's name. You weren't going to say only one candidate can bring your son home. Why was it so important for you to speak at the RNC, and what's the message you were trying to convey?
You know, when we were invited to the RNC, we said we had to speak there because it's such a wide audience, and it was very important for us to be able to raise the story of the hostages and their plight to this huge audience. We wanted the audience to know that on October 7th, this was not only an attack against Israel, this was an attack against Americans, that 45 Americans were murdered that day, and that 8 American hostages are still held in captivity, amongst them our son. And, you know, it was a very powerful event. You know, we received such unequivocal support, and it's very important for us to keep that support, like you said, you know, on both sides. It's been like that since October 7th, and that's the only way to get them back. Everyone working together and putting pressure on all parties to reach this agreement and to put it in motion and get them out. It's urgent.
I'm sure so many other families appreciate your efforts. It cannot be easy to do this. We know your son Omer is one of a handful of Americans that are still being held hostage by Hamas. Can you tell us a little bit more about him? And do you know anything more about his condition?
You have 5 pictures here, but in effect, these are 5 Americans that are considered to be alive, but there are 3 additional Americans that were murdered and their bodies taken to Gaza and are still being held in Gaza. So we're a total of 8 right now. Specifically, our son Omer grew up in New York. We're New Yorkers. We're from Long Island. And he grew up here until age 18. He's, an all-American kid. He loves sports. He's an NBA, NFL fan, and he also is always on a team. He loves playing basketball, volleyball, and soccer. And at some point in high school, he was the captain of all 3 teams. He's this, kind of fun guy, tall, big smile on his face. Kids kind of gravitate towards him. So he tended to take leadership roles. And he's been a mentor to many kids. He was very involved in his youth group. And people have been reaching out to us, kids everywhere. Just yesterday here in Washington, I think maybe 6 people approached me that I've never met in my life, young people around his age group. We know Omer from here, we know him from there. We miss him, we've been praying for him. He needs to come back.
And that speaks volumes about how many people he has impacted. Ronan, you talked about hope of hearing that Prime Minister Netanyahu will talk about a deal soon to release the hostages. How hopeful are you that we're close to that?
Well, as I said, we hear from the authorities in Israel that they are ready for the multiple phase that you're showing a ceasefire. But I want to mention that the key for that ceasefire and de-escalation in the whole region, both in the Gaza and give release to the people in Gaza and also in Lebanon, is the start of release of hostages. And without seeing the hostages coming out, nothing is going to stop as far as Israel activity in the region. And also, as we can see, the Hezbollah and other forces acting against Israel. So we really need that deal. The people in the region need that deal. We want our son back. We believe the time is now. We believe it's urgent. And we are urging Prime Minister and all the players in the area to reach that deal and bring some kind of de-escalation for their people in the region.
Ronan and Orna Nutra from Long Island, New York, thank you so much for sharing some of your son, Omer, with us. We hope that he is brought home ASAP. Thank you again so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
We're thinking of both of you. East Coasters, grab your umbrellas because some scattered storms are headed this way. Well, out west, those heat alerts, they're not going away.
Meteorologist Angie Lassman is here with the latest on all that and more. Hey, good morning, Angie.
Hey, good morning, guys. We sure are unsettled across much of the east. It really ranges from parts of the Gulf Coast, stretching all the way to the mid-Atlantic. We've got some of these showers across parts of northern New England as well. But this general vicinity of the southeast is where we're going to be watching for the most impactful weather through the day today as far as rain is concerned. You'll notice places like Houston to Jackson already waking up to some wet weather. We've seen some of these showers rolling through the Carolinas this morning as well. And that's something we're going to continue to watch through the day today. But specifically, we're concerned about the flooding happening likely as the day goes on across parts of Texas and Louisiana and parts of Georgia as well. Here's why. We've got this stationary front that's kind of just hanging around the same general area. It was around yesterday. It's going to be there tomorrow. And it's leaving us with the potential to see some of these kind of slow moving storms in that region. The localized downpours could be impressive too. So rainfall rates will be up there. And that means that a slow moving storm, a whole lot of moisture to tap into, and the flooding will be something that we'll be concerned about. Specifically, again, across parts of Texas and Louisiana. Notice Lake Charles, Houston, New Orleans, stretching up into Atlanta and up into the Carolinas. That's where we have a slight risk, but there is a moderate risk right centered around the state line between Louisiana and Houston, now, or Louisiana and Texas, rather. Now, that area has seen ample amounts of rain in the past couple of weeks. We know it's been a pretty saturated kind of region. We've got saturated soils right now. And with those high rainfall rates, it's not going to take much for us to see the flooding occur. And this is going to be something we'll see kind of even through Friday. So here's those rainfall totals we can expect between now and then. Notice the numbers, anywhere from 2 to 3 inches is going to be the more widespread amounts. We'll have maybe an inch or so for a bigger area across this region. But Anywhere from 5 to 9 inches of rain will be possible across this region with some localized spots. So this is why we're concerned, not just today, but through at least the next couple of days, guys, for flooding. It's been already a really soggy season for them there. So we're going to be watching that closely here as that stationary front kind of just hangs around.
Doesn't seem to be stopping.
I know the ground is so saturated for those folks already.
Angie, thank you.
Of course. Thanks, Angie. Well, coming up, it is one of the most common complaints impacting millions of Americans. Middlemen accused of inflating the price you pay for prescription drugs. How Congress is now finally demanding some accountability.
But first, the Secret Service director says she is stepping down following the assassination attempt on former President Trump. We're going to have the latest on that next. We're back with the latest on the resignation of U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. Her announcement came just one day after that contentious congressional hearing. Cheadle declined to answer some basic questions about the security in place during the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley has the details.
Cheadle's resignation sent shockwaves through Washington because it was not expected she would step down at this point in the process after she hung on through last week and, of course, that contentious House oversight hearing where both Republicans and Democrats asked her to step down. But on Tuesday morning, NBC News was first to break the news that Cheadle had sent in her resignation letter and the president had accepted it. Here's the story.
My name is Kimberly Cheadle, and I'm the director of
Kimberly Cheadle, the 29-year veteran of the Secret Service, is out. In a letter to President Biden saying the Secret Service's solid mission is to protect our nation's leaders. On July 13th, we fell short on that mission. I take full responsibility for the security lapse. Her resignation, first reported by NBC News, comes 9 days after a gunman tried to assassinate Donald Trump at a rally, putting Cheadle in the hot seat as she struggled to answer basic questions.
Why was the rooftop left naked to begin with? Can you tell us that, considering it was within the line of sight and so very close?
Again, I can't speak to the specifics of this particular event site.
The deputy director has now stepped in temporarily, but questions and harsh criticism of the agency persist. House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mark Green has subpoenaed the Secret Service.
The fact that there was nobody covering the top of that building is ridiculous.
He is calling for even more changes, especially during this tense and high-profile election season.
We're going to continue to lay out all the things that we think need to be addressed and hope and watch and make sure that Secret Service implements those.
For years, the agency has had a staffing shortage. One of the reasons Secret Service sources tell NBC News it denied some requests for more security at earlier Trump events. The Secret Service currently has about 3,500 agents assigned to protective details, including new, more enhanced security for Vice President Kamala Harris. That's 500 fewer agents than they had 10 years ago. Paul Eckloff served in the Secret Service for 23 years.
Director Cheadle needed to go. She had lost the faith of the men and women of the Secret Service.
We're in the middle of a campaign season. How much time does the Secret Service have to learn the lessons and fix what went wrong?
The simple answer is they have no time. They have to integrate those changes now before another tragedy occurs.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has asked Deputy Director of the Secret Service Ronald Rowe to step in as acting director in Cheadle's absence, while they continue to look for a permanent position. Law enforcement experts say the agency should be looking at how they can reassess how they depend on local law enforcement, how they might use aerial surveillance, and how they could revamp their recruiting process. But nothing has been set in stone yet.
All right, Julia, thank you. For some perspective, let's bring in Charles Marino. He's a former Secret Service special agent and served as a senior advisor for the Department of Homeland Security. He's also the author of the book Terrorists on the Border and in Our Country. Good to have you with us. So as we just heard, Deputy Director Ronald Rowe Jr. is now the acting director of the Secret Service. What should be his top priority as he steps into this new role during what can only be described as a tough time for the agency?
Yeah, continuity is going to be important. And look, as we just heard, operations do not stop for the Secret Service. As a matter of fact, they're only going to increase in the next several months of this campaign. So in addition to consistency, it's making sure all of these protection details are buttoned up, that they have the resources that match the particular threat level of the protectee. It's very important. This is their #1 mission. It's not a time to talk about the resources. That's something that's going to need to be addressed here in the near future. But right now, it's throwing everything they've got at these protection details. That's the zero-fail mission.
You know, Charles, this is a political appointment. Do you think we will see a new director, a permanent director, installed before November? And what do you think that person would need to prioritize on day one when it comes to morale and culture at the Secret Service?
Yeah, I doubt it. I think the Deputy Director, Ron Rowe, who I know, will be a good person to stabilize operations right now, do everything that I just mentioned in the interim. But, you know, the interesting thing is in this upcoming election, we're looking at a new administration either way on the Republican and Democratic side. So they're going to have their say, whoever wins, on who comes in as the permanent director of the Secret Service.
Sources within the Secret Service say it's been understaffed for years, as Julia just reported. Obviously, it's going to take time to hire and train more agents. As you say, the resources conversation might have to come later. But in the meantime, how do you think the Secret Service can do its job in the middle of this incredibly busy and contentious campaign season?
Well, let's talk about the resources at the macro level. There's going to be some tough decisions that need to be made. You can't always say from the agency's perspective that you're being asked to do more with less when you're raising your hand to do more. So I think the hard decision needs to be made. Do they want to remain the best protection agency in the world? And the answer to that is yes. So decisions need to be made. I think it's time to give away some of the investigative mission, the legacy investigative mission that came with them to DHS from Treasury, and put those resources towards protection.
All right, Charles Marino, thank you so much for your time and your expertise this morning. We appreciate it.
Sure.
And you can check out his book, Terrorists on the Border and in Our Country, out wherever books are sold.
All right, it is time now for international headlines, starting with the catastrophic landslides in southern Ethiopia.
NBC's Josh Letterman has that and other world news. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. At least 229 people are dead in a remote region of Ethiopia after deadly mudslides that also left a number of people unaccounted for. Local officials say the dead include pregnant women, young kids, even some of the rescuers who tried to pull out survivors. This disaster is coming during Ethiopia's rainy summer season that often triggers fatal mudslides, not just in Ethiopia, but across East Africa. Let's head over now to Colombia, where President Gustavo Petro has just signed a law banning bullfighting, following a long campaign by animal rights activists. The legislation would phase out bullfighting over the next 3 years and see more than a dozen bullfighting arenas converted into concert halls and exhibition venues. But Colombia's professional matadors are furious, and they say they will keep bullfighting no matter what the government says. And finally, heading to Brazil, where scientists found something you might not expect in the body of sharks off the coast: cocaine. Researchers tested 13 of Brazilian's sharp-nosed sharks off of the Rio de Janeiro coast, and all of them had cocaine detectable in both their liver and their muscle tissue. Scientists say it comes from discharge from illegal drug labs and sewage waste from humans who have ingested the drug in a region where cocaine use is on the rise. Vicki and Joe?
The expression on my face, I'm sorry, cocaine bear, but this is cocaine shark.
There you go. Not something you expect to hear at all. All right.
All right, Josh Letterman, thank you so much.
Coming up, Iowa on the verge of enacting one of the strictest abortion laws in the country.
But opponents say their fight isn't over yet. We're going to break down the new law and what they mean for the women of Iowa. That's next. We are back now with a new law in Iowa that will ban abortion after just 6 weeks.
The law, set to take effect on Monday, was signed a year ago by the governor, but it was held up by legal challenges. Last month, the state Supreme Court cleared the way for the restrictive law to be enforced.
Joining us in studio with more on this is NBC News Now legal analyst Angela Senadella. Angela, it's great to see you. So, with the passage of this law, that would make Iowa one of 22 states right now that have some kind of abortion ban or restriction on the books. Tell us what this means. Does it have any exceptions?
Yes, so there are some limited exceptions to this. First, if there is a fetal abnormality that is incompatible with life. Second and third are for incest and rape, but those have restrictions. So the rape has to have been reported within 45 days of the incident, and then incest within 140 days. And then last is if there's physical endangerment of the pregnant woman's life. Now, we know there is so much subjectivity around that. So in this case, doctors would have to make that judgment, but then also could potentially be prosecuted. But what that means for the women of Iowa is that outside of those restrictions, they would have to go out of state to a state where it is legal. Currently, there is no ban, no travel ban that would prevent a woman from going out of state to receive an abortion.
So there were 2 clinics in Iowa that offer in-person care for abortions. They're the ones who tried to challenge this law. Obviously, they were unsuccessful. What was it the state Supreme Court ruled? What was it they said? And are there any other ways to challenge this law?
So at this point, I really think legally we're at the end of the road in terms of challenges. So in some ways, this ban was always inevitable, but these legal challenges just delayed the inevitable. So the Iowa State Supreme Court said that any abortion law that the Iowa legislators pass is now constitutional so long as there's a rational basis for it. That's a really low bar. It just means, was there any legitimate state interest that's attached to that law? If so, we're not going to be able to review it. So almost immediately, Planned Parenthood did challenge this. They tried to ask the Supreme Court of Iowa to rehear this request and apply a higher standard, the undue burden test, which would mean that no law could be considered okay if it placed an undue burden on our fundamental right. But as expected, the Iowa State Supreme Court denied to hear that request, so it was kicked back down to the lower court, which then dismissed the lawsuit.
Angela, quickly before you go, we know Vice President Kamala Harris has been campaigning across the country talking about abortion. If she is, in fact, elected president, what can a president do about these 22 states?
Right, so the president can't do that much by her or himself, but they can do a lot in conjunction with Congress or in opposition to. So the president could veto a bill that Congress would pass, or they can sign one into law, which is why you are hearing on the campaign trail, if you guys give me this type of Congress, I can then sign this type of law into act. So that is what the president can do. Executive agency, executive power. There are very limited things they can try to do, but we have really seen this Supreme Court try to limit that executive power. So that's really unlikely.
Okay. Angela Senadella, as always, thank you so much.
Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill are finding some common ground over drug prices in the U.S. In a heated hearing, lawmakers grilled top executives, accusing them of driving up drug costs. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin reports.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony...
The powerful middlemen managing prescription drug access for millions of Americans grilled on Capitol Hill.
People are dying because they can't afford their medication, and you all are part of the problem.
Pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs, are responsible for negotiating pharmacy prices with drug manufacturers. They're being accused of profiting by inflating drug costs and squeezing Main Street pharmacies, impacting patients. One survey shows nearly 3 in 10 Americans have rationed or skipped doses of prescribed medicines due to high costs.
You're setting dramatically different prices for some medications across the country.
If you're not delivering an outcome to the people who use it, how long do you all think you're going to have a job?
During the heated and complicated bipartisan hearing,
I feel like the more I hear, the less I understand.
Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna pointed to the case of a 10-year-old girl who he says needed Humira to treat her juvenile arthritis, but was denied for 6 months, while her arthritis got worse.
They were saying that the doctor needed to prescribe something cheaper. Can you make a commitment today that you'll privilege the doctor's recommendation over the bureaucracy's recommendation?
As a physician, I hope you understand this. We value our partnership with physicians.
Executives from the 3 largest PBMs, responsible for managing access to nearly 80% of all prescription drugs in the U.S., pushed back on allegations they drive up prices.
Last year alone, we saved our clients $64 billion.
They blame brand manufacturers, who they say raised drug costs up to 60%.
It's hard work to keep those costs down for patients and clients.
Aaron McLaughlin, thank you.
It is time now for your weekly checkup. This morning, we're taking a look at an annual fitness index ranking that shows where you live can influence how healthy and how active you are.
Plus, we're going to take a look at the daily health benefits of avocados and how just one a day could maybe help keep the doctor away.
We have with us NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Good morning, Dr. Azar.
Nice to see you both.
It's great to see you. All right, let's get started with that news about the nation's fittest cities.
Yes.
So the American College of Sports Medicine released their annual rankings. Once again, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Seattle, Washington, they have secured the top spots. So tell us, why are the folks there so fit?
Yes, so this is a really, if you're interested in where you rank, you can go look this up for yourself, and you hope that you're not in the 90s or the 80s, right? But this American Fitness Index, it basically ranks 100 of America's largest city on 33, I should say, personal as well as community health indicators. And this is the list that they have generated that they say leads to the healthiest environment for you to live in. You need to have a community where more people are walking or biking to work. There needs to be public exercise spaces, public drinking fountains, farmers markets, farm stands, community gardens, public transportation. But they take a lot of things into account. Certain things like access to mental health services, how much food security or insecurity is present in your community. So my doctor's orders are this: make the most of your city and advocate for better resources. And I think that this is really important because this is as much for city officials as it is for those community dwellers to say, look, this is what makes a community healthy. How can I analyze where I live? Where can I contribute to improvements? And if you're looking to move somewhere, I think this is a very useful index for you to sort of keep in mind. Where do I want to raise a family? Where do I want to set down roots myself?
I lived in Seattle. It seemed very healthy, so now we know it was healthy.
Every time you go to D.C., you're like, everyone's out all the time biking and
They're all
running.
running.
That's all they do. Exactly.
Running for office and running around the town. All right.
Exactly.
So researchers at Penn State recently conducted one of the largest studies on the potential health benefits of avocados. What did they find?
They divided two groups of people. For 6 months, participants ate an avocado a day, and the other participants ate them once or twice throughout the entire time period. And this is what they found. They found that the people who ate an avocado a day had improved blood lipids. It was associated overall with a better diet, and the individuals had better sleep habits. Now, you'll notice on the very top line, it says, did not increase overall health. I'm sure we've all heard cardiac health, heart health, exactly. I'm sure we've all heard of this Life's Essential 8. This is from the American Heart Association. They look at sleep, diet, blood pressure, blood sugar, BMI, nicotine, physical activity, and lipids. So the avocado eaters didn't necessarily score high on all those 8, but they did on those 3. For my doctor's orders, focus on diet quality. Remember, if you're eating avocados, you're very likely also eating other healthy foods. So there is that association there. And don't obsess over one thing, right? Like an avocado a day may not save your life, but it's part of a very healthy Mediterranean diet. And that's what we want people to focus on.
And they're delicious. Just be careful.
And they're so healthy.
So all right. Lastly, tomorrow is World Drowning Prevention Day.
I think it's today.
Wednesday? Is it today? Today, Wednesday.
That might have been written, yes.
Oh, it should be every day.
It should be every day.
And it's very important because according to the CDC, drowning deaths in the U.S. are actually on the rise. So give us some safety tips.
Okay. For caregivers and for ourselves, always supervise children. Children should never be more than an arm's length away from us. Do you know that 15% of this country, 40 million people, do not know how to swim? This is a life skill that everyone should have. Be aware of your surroundings, no alcohol near water, and use safety equipment, especially if you're boating. You must have a life jacket or if you're near open water. When my doctor's orders, set boundaries and rules for children, stay vigilant. And one of the most important things, I think, is to have what's called a water watcher. Like you and I have done a lot of these things for the Today Show. It is someone who every 15 minutes is responsible for watching people in a pool. They shouldn't be talking to other people. They shouldn't be on social media, and they should not be drinking alcohol. Period. Full stop.
We love these doctor's orders. Thank you so much, Dr. Natalie Azar. Good to see you on a Wednesday morning. Well, it has been 100 years since Paris has hosted the Olympics.
I remember it well. All right, coming up, we're going back in time to take a look at how the games have changed from 1924 to 2024. Back now with some money news, starting with a new survey on why some homeowners might not feel motivated to put their houses on the market this year.
CNBC's Silvana Hanau joins us this morning with that and all the other headlines. Good morning, Silvana.
Good morning, Vicki. Good morning, Joe. Yeah, so nearly half of current homeowners say mortgage rates need to be below 5% for them to feel comfortable buying a new home this year. A new Bankrate survey also finds nearly 40% say there's no level where they feel okay buying a home. The last time rates were below 6% was in August of 2022 and below 5% in April of 2022. Sales of existing homes fell in June to the slowest pace since 2010 as sellers wait for rates to fall further and buyers are drawing the line at stubbornly high prices. More than 13,000 unionized hotel workers plan to vote next month on whether to authorize a strike as contract talks with Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt stall. The workers at 125 hotels in Boston, San Francisco, Honolulu, and Providence have been seeking a significant pay raise, better health care and pension plans. They're also asking the hotel chains to reverse pandemic-era staff and service cuts. And Mattel has high hopes for the holiday shopping season. The company reporting better than expected results in the second quarter, and it believes higher sales this fall will carry over into next year. Those will be driven partly by toy licenses for Moana 2 and Wicked, which will hit theaters in November. Mattel CEO says parents with less discretionary income will likely prioritize spending on their kids, which bodes well for the toy industry, guys. Can't believe we're already talking about the holidays.
I always loved making my toy list. I was so excited. Which toys
Nowadays,
I
they're doing it on a PowerPoint. They're like so advanced. I tell you, there's a whole presentation involved.
Yeah.
I love that.
My niece has done it.
Yeah.
All right, Silvana, see? You got to just put it out there, use the technology.
I know.
It's like a campaign. All right, thank you,
It really
Silvana.
is. You got it. Well, we are now less than 2 days away from the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympics. And this morning, we are heading back in time and taking a look at the first time Paris hosted the Games back in 1924, when you could only tune in via radio broadcast.
NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons takes us on the road to Paris from then to now.
When Paris last made Olympic history in 1924, the Games were broadcast live on radio for the first time from the Eiffel Tower. The athletes' village made its debut, red wine included, and 3,000 Olympians attended, descending on a small stadium in the Parisian suburb of Colombes, being reused this time for field hockey.
You can see it with the earth behind the athletes, like it's a really global event.
Amid rising anti-Semitism depicted in the movie Chariots of Fire, and in the shadow of two wars, they came to compete. William DeHart Hubbard, in the long jump, became the first African-American to win an individual gold. Ken Blackwell is his nephew.
He wrote his mother a letter, and the letter simply said that he was going across the ocean to show that there are boundaries that can be broken.
Back then, just 44 countries competed, compared to more than 200 now. And only 135 women took part. Today, there are equal numbers of male and female athletes.
The first game that we call the first game paritaire, equal men and women.
The Olympics has changed.
The breakdance, the hip-hop dance, that didn't exist in 1924, so...
That didn't exist in 1924?
No, I'm sure of this.
But the ideals of a century ago remain.
You can advance on merit. You win the race because you run the fastest. You win the long jump because you jump the furthest.
That's the Olympic spirit.
That's right.
Our thanks to Keir Simmons for that report. You can tune into the opening ceremony this Friday on NBC and streaming on Peacock. Coming up, returning history. Why a Nashville museum is sending nearly 250 artifacts back to where they came from. That's next. Finally this hour, a Nashville museum is hoping to set a new standard by sending hundreds of artifacts back to their original home. NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas has that story.
A special celebration in Nashville. to mark the return of pre-Columbian artifacts once taken from Mexico. These ancient tools, instruments, ceramic pots over 500 years old, and a museum favorite, the Mexican hairless dog, a small part of Mexico's history that has been on display at the Nashville Parthenon Museum, now set to be repatriated.
I think it's important because Mexico's had a lot of their history removed.
Assistant curator Bonnie Seymour working effortlessly to do what she says is the right thing.
We can't fix the holes that are lost because a lot of context is lost, but we can give it back to where it belongs.
This museum hoping to set an example and teach others around the world how they can repatriate artifacts too.
An exhibit that celebrates this and then starts a conversation on what repatriation is and how it impacts people that the artifacts go back to would be the best way to do it.
It's no small task. For 2 years, Bonnie worked with Mexican and local authorities to forge a new path for repatriation between the museum and Mexico.
Almost every museum has something from somewhere else. And it's not that they want to keep them, it's that nobody knows what to do.
Once the 255 artifacts are packaged, it will be sent to the Mexican consulate in Georgia, where the consul general played a key role to the repatriation.
There are some gorgeous pieces, beautiful pieces that are being recovered. And again, this is part of the past. This is part of the history of our people.
The collection will ultimately be sent to the National Institute of Anthropology and History in Mexico City.
It's going back to the people that it really connects with.
But before departing, the artifacts inspired local artist Jose Vera Gonzalez to create a special collection. Jose says it was an opportunity of a lifetime for an artist who came from Mexico as a migrant and is now part of the repatriation.
Como yo ahora, yo de la nueva era, pero en aquel entonces ya eran ellos artistas. Entonces convivir con ellos es como un honor, un respeto a la historia. Un respeto al amor que tienes por tu país.
For some visiting the exhibit, mixed emotions.
It's a good idea, but also I feel like the United States also needs something like this.
And for some museums, it can also mean losing a valuable part of their collection.
I understand someone has ownership of it right now. It's very difficult for them to give that ownership up, particularly when they're sharing it with the rest of the world.
Yet the pressure to return artifacts to their original lands of origin persists, standing behind the widely held belief that it's wrong to keep what isn't yours. Guad Venegas, NBC News.
And that does it for this hour of Morning News Now. Stick with us. The news continues right now. Good Wednesday morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah's on assignment. Vicki Wynn will join us a bit later in the hour. Right now on Morning News Now, we're awaiting history from the White House. President Biden back in Washington ahead of his landmark Oval Office address later tonight on the heels of that re-election bombshell. Well, his presumptive replacement, Vice President Kamala Harris, wastes no time getting out on the campaign trail. Her sights set on former President Trump in battleground Wisconsin.
I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
We've got team coverage of this historic moment in American politics. We're also looking ahead to another high-stakes event in Washington this afternoon. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu set to address a joint session of Congress. It comes amid mounting global pressure to halt the violence in Gaza and bring those remaining hostages home. But not all lawmakers are on board with Mr. Netanyahu's speech. We're going to bring you the latest. Plus, growing frustration on Capitol Hill over the Secret Service's response to the attempted assassination of Mr. Trump. The agency's director now stepping down after heated clashes with lawmakers just a day earlier. We're going to bring you some new video showing the harrowing moments after the shooting that's now firing up Congress. And the opening ceremony is still a couple days away, but you can catch some early Olympic action today. We've got a preview of the events you definitely cannot miss later in the hour. Good to have you with us. We're going to begin this hour with the race for the White House. President Biden set to deliver a primetime address tonight from the Oval Office, explaining his decision to step aside from the race, an announcement that came amid mounting pressure from Democrats. He returned to Washington yesterday after recovering from COVID. Vice President Kamala Harris is now on the campaign trail, holding her first rally since becoming a candidate for president. She has received enough support from delegates to become the clear frontrunner for the party's nomination. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has the latest.
Good morning to you. President Biden set to address the country tonight in primetime. Having just announced the end of his campaign this evening, he will in effect launch a new effort to help shape his legacy. A White House official telling me the president will make the case that all Americans should put the country first. And this morning, Democrats I've spoken to were also touting Kamala Harris's entrance into this race as a burst of energy, but also acknowledge there are challenges ahead. President Biden set to address the nation tonight from the Oval Office for the first time since abruptly dropping out of the presidential race.
What will your message be tomorrow night?
The president returning to the White House Tuesday after recovering from COVID, the first public sighting since his weekend bombshell. A White House official telling NBC News the president will explain his decision to exit the race. Marking her presidential campaign debut in Wisconsin, Vice President Kamala Harris walking out to Beyonce's hit Freedom. Harris now the de facto Democratic nominee, accusing former President Trump of looking to take the country backwards, while comparing herself, a former prosecutor, to Mr. Trump, a convicted criminal.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
The two top Democrats in Congress, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, the latest to endorse her candidacy. And overnight, Hillary Clinton, who lost to Mr. Trump in 2016, praising Harris in a New York Times op-ed, writing, I know she can defeat Donald Trump, but warning Mrs. Harris's record and character will be distorted and disparaged by a flood of disinformation and the kind of ugly prejudice we're already hearing from MAGA mouthpieces. And on the Republican side, there is new backlash to some attacking her race. One Republican congressman referring to Harris as a DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion vice president.
100%. She was a DEI hire.
Some other conservative members echoing that language.
I think it's just a failure from top to bottom. I think she was a DEI hire.
Republican leaders warning against those attacks.
This election is going to be about policies, not personalities. This is not personal with regard to Kamala Harris, and her ethnicity or her gender had nothing to do with this whatsoever.
Meanwhile, old video of Mr. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, is resurfacing, referring to Harris and other prominent Democrats as, quote, the childless left.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made.
For his part, Mr. Trump is zeroing in on Harris's record.
She was the worst at everything. She was the worst vice president, and he was the worst president.
Overnight, the Trump campaign filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission over the transfer of tens of millions of dollars in campaign cash from Biden to Harris, calling it a, quote, brazen money grab. But campaign finance experts that NBC has consulted with say because Harris's name was on the original paperwork, she would be able to take over the funds, no problem. Back to you.
All right, Peter, thank you so much. Let's bring in NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss for more perspective on the president's speech tonight. Michael, always good to have you with us.
Thank you.
President Biden says he's going to discuss what lies ahead and how he will, quote, finish the job for the American people. What are you going to be watching for as he delivers this important address from the Oval Office?
Well, this is something we have never seen before in American history. A president of the United States who is running for re-election suddenly less than a month before a Democratic convention, stepping aside. He's going to, for the first time, we're going to hear from him why he did that and what he expects to happen. And the other thing, you made a great point, Joe, which is that he's going to be president for 6 more months. So this is not a farewell address from the Oval Office at the White House. That's something we'll see in January.
Of course, as many are pointing out, lame duck president in a highly tense election year could be hard to get things done, but we'll see what he lays out. He now joins this rare group of presidents who ultimately chose not to seek re-election. Of course, we think most recently of Lyndon B. Johnson during the Vietnam War. How does Mr. Biden's decision differ from past one-term presidents? Help us put this decision into perspective.
Well, Truman pulled out in 1952 in March after losing the New Hampshire primary. 1968, LBJ pulled out at almost exactly the same day in March, the end of March 1968, after he was about to certainly lose the Wisconsin primary 2 days later. So that is different because that was so early in the cycle. Here we are seeing what we thought might have been impossible, which is not only a president stepping aside just weeks before he was likely to be nominated at the Democratic convention, but at the same time doing that and being able to name his successor and have that decision go forward flawlessly because, as you know, Joe, in the last 24 hours, Kamala Harris now apparently has enough delegates to be nominated.
Michael, some folks have been pointing out something that I find absolutely mind-blowing. This is going to be the first election in nearly half a century that does not include a Bush, a Clinton, or Biden on the ticket. Does this feel like the end of an era in some ways?
It does. And what you're talking about, Joe, suggests how much we have dynasties in this country. Two Bushes who were president, two Clintons, a president, and ultimately only a Secretary of State because she didn't win. And the poignant thing, Joe, is there could have been two Bidens because Joe Biden had his heart set on seeing his son, Beau, run for president himself. That could have even happened this year. So one Biden, but there could have been two.
An important point there. All right. Michael Beschloss, always good to have you with us. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're going to bring you live coverage of President Biden's address from the Oval Office. It gets underway tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific time, here on NBC News Now as well as on NBC. Staying on the race for the White House this morning, we're taking a closer look at 5 candidates who the Harris campaign is reportedly vetting as potential running mates. And with all roads leading to a matchup with former President Trump, that shortlist centers on the key battleground states. NBC News Washington correspondent Michelle Sindor takes a closer look.
Vice President Kamala Harris ramping up her search for a running mate. Her campaign requesting vetting materials from 5 elected officials, according to 2 sources familiar with the process.
And when we fight, we win.
The candidates on the short list include 4 governors: Pennsylvania's Josh Shapiro, North Carolina's Roy Cooper, Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, and Tim Walz of Minnesota. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly also joining the list. Together, they represent more than half of this year's battleground states, which will likely decide the election in November.
Certainly, they have to be a unifier, unify and continue bringing our party together. They have to have expansion capabilities, meaning expanding the electorate. They certainly have to be able to draw a true contrast, not just between Donald Trump, Trumpism, and Trump's Project 2025, but also be able to draw the contrast between Trump's pick to be his running mate, J.D. Vance.
Shapiro, a young Democratic Party star, rose to prominence as Pennsylvania's Attorney General. Then he earned a blowout win in the 2022 governor's race, outperforming Biden and polling well with Republicans.
President Biden yesterday endorsed Vice President Harris, as did I, as did many across this country, not only because of how honorably she has served in the past, but how absolutely ready she is to be president and to be the standard bearer for our party.
Shapiro denying he submitted any vetting materials.
Did you say that no paperwork has been submitted to vet you as a vice presidential candidate?
The other Rust Belt governor under consideration, Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer. She's a political powerhouse known for taking on former President Trump. But despite throwing her support behind Harris,
today I am fired up to endorse Kamala Harris for President of the United States.
She has said she would not accept an offer to be her running mate. Another Midwesterner, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, would offer Harris a progressive voice from the area. But he doesn't have the name recognition of the others on the short list.
That we've got a great candidate. We've got one that folks lined up behind Kamala Harris, that they're making the case that this administration is moving us forward.
Roy Cooper of North Carolina offers Harris an ally with strong bipartisan support and a strong track record on abortion.
I've known him for almost 2 decades, and he is an extraordinary leader.
So far, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly is the only candidate on the list from the Southwest and the only one who's been to space. Kelly and his wife, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, have become leading gun control advocates after her attempted assassination in 2011.
We can have a president and a vice president who wants to fix our broken immigration system and keep families together.
Vice President Harris is working against the clock as she makes her choice. Sources tell NBC News that Democrats would like to have a VP nominee by August 7th to make sure their candidates get on the ballot in all 50 states.
Our thanks to you, Michelle Sindor, for bringing us that report. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to deliver a controversial address to Congress later today. It's a speech that's sparking protests in Washington from those upset with Israel's handling of the war in Gaza and those pushing for a deal to secure the release of hostages. NBC News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrea Mitchell has the latest.
This will be Prime Minister Netanyahu's 4th address to Congress over 3 decades, and arguably the most critical one, with a ceasefire and a hostage release deal now hanging in the balance. Today, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu is set to address a joint meeting of Congress, with pressure mounting to deliver a ceasefire and bring the surviving hostages home after 9 months of brutal war in Gaza. Netanyahu is likely to face a barrage of protests today, with heightened security on Capitol Hill. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered at the Capitol Tuesday, protesting U.S. weapons used in Gaza. The Capitol Police making arrests. With Democrats deeply divided over the war, more than a dozen lawmakers are expected to boycott today's speech, blaming the Prime Minister for prolonging the conflict. Why aren't you going?
I would like to see Bibi Netanyahu be a more constructive, forward-leaning, solution-seeking partner in all of this.
Others say they feel compelled to attend.
I feel when world leaders come to the People's Chamber, it's important that we hear their perspective.
Netanyahu is expected to meet with President Biden at the White House tomorrow, followed by an unprecedented meeting with the 2 leaders and the families of American hostages. In a meeting with those families Monday, Netanyahu pointed to new progress, telling them the conditions are ripening to bring their loved ones home. The parents of American hostage Hirsch Goldberg Poland told Netanyahu they want him to announce a deal today.
We're not going to stop pushing. We need to get this done.
Meanwhile, Israel's military pummeling southern Gaza Monday in a safe zone, it says targeting militants, but killing at least 70, injuring 200, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Netanyahu's visit is also looming over the presidential race. Vice President Harris will not be presiding over today's address, instead attending a previously scheduled event in Indianapolis. But she's expected to meet with Netanyahu at the White House, separately from President Biden. Former President Trump, a strong Netanyahu supporter, has announced that the Prime Minister will be meeting with him at Mar-a-Lago before he flies home on Friday.
All right, Andrea, thank you so much. Let's bring in Avi Mayer for more on this. He is the former editor-in-chief of the Jerusalem Post. Avi, thank you for joining us. You know, we know Congress is split over Netanyahu's address. The relationship between the Biden administration and the Prime Minister has become combative, to say the least, as of late. He's accused the U.S. of betrayal, leaving some to wonder if this trip is about mending fences or if the speech is really for an Israeli audience. What do you think?
Well, Joe, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, before boarding his plane, the Prime Minister said that this would be his opportunity to thank President Biden and the American people for their support throughout this war. We know the president was extremely supportive, particularly at the very beginning, and has continued to be so throughout the war campaign. But of course, there is a domestic audience in mind as well. Any trip by a prime minister abroad has domestic ramifications. And of course, there were voices in Israel that called on him to actually cancel this trip and focus on sealing the deal and bring the remaining hostages home. So he has to show that he is actually coming back from this trip with some kind of an accomplishment that will have made this trip worthwhile.
We just saw how this visit is being viewed in America, in Washington. How is it being seen in Israel? What is it people are watching for and listening for?
Well, look, anytime an Israeli prime minister visits Washington, it's viewed as a tremendous honor for the Jewish state. Many people will be glued to their television sets watching his address to the joint session of Congress. And so there is, of course, a domestic audience that is important to bear in mind. But as I said, this trip is not without controversy. There are quite a few activists in Israel who called on him not to leave until a hostage deal had been signed. There were actual protests at the airport trying to prevent him from reaching his plane. Of course, he did manage to get off. And I think there were many other voices that said, look, this is important. Of course, the United States is an ally, but it is much more urgent for us to seal the deal and bring those remaining hostages home. They cannot afford to spend even another minute in Hamas captivity, and those voices are quite prominent in Israel at this time.
With that criticism in mind, if he does not reach an agreement within the coming days or the coming weeks, what do you think happens?
Well, look, he has indicated that a deal of some kind is likely to happen in the near future. He told the hostage families that just the other day. He's been sending messages in a variety of different ways through various different channels that this seems to be in the offing. He will be dispatching a delegation of negotiators to Qatar tomorrow in order to continue those negotiations, indirect negotiations, of course, with Hamas. So it looks like this will happen. What happens if it doesn't? I mean, look, we've been seeing that reality for the past few months. These negotiations have been starting and stopping. We have seen time and again Hamas has posed one obstacle after another in order to prevent these hostages from reaching fruition. We hope that doesn't happen and that at some point in the near future, we'll be able to see those hostages brought home.
Avi Meir, you have been speaking with us since literally the morning of October 7th. We always appreciate your time and your expertise. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
The director of the Secret Service resigned yesterday after a chorus of bipartisan calls for her removal following the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Also this morning, new video has surfaced that shows the tense moments immediately after the shooting. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins us with the latest on all this. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. And Kimberly Cheadle's decision to step down comes as the investigation into the assassination attempt is ramping up, with Congress in many ways taking the lead, revealing information that the Secret Service and other federal agencies have been reluctant to release. Among them, new video from the rooftop where the gunman was positioned. It was released by Senator Chuck Grassley, who is demanding answers. And we do want to warn you, you may find this disturbing.
We're right there, obviously.
Got it. New video this morning shows the immediate aftermath following the attempt on Donald Trump's life.
So you're just treating that as suspicious device.
The body cam video shows local law enforcement and Secret Service agents on top of the roof where the shooter was perched. The gunman's body, partially blurred in the video, his long gun nearby. An agent asking a local officer about what snipers saw before the shooting.
And our sniper seeing him walking away from that, I believe. Okay.
The Secret Service referring NBC News to Senator Chuck Grassley's office, but saying the agency is committed to better understanding what happened. Senator Grassley said he shared the video publicly to demonstrate how local police are sharing more evidence with Congress than federal investigators. It's part of a broader frustration by Congress that the federal response has been slow and evasive, and also what led members of Congress to push for the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. Cheadle was plagued by the fallout from the assassination attempt on former President Trump and found herself unable to answer direct questions from lawmakers.
Were you guessing or lying when you said you didn't turn down requests from President Trump's detail?
Neither, sir.
Former President Trump weighing in on Cheadle's resignation overnight.
I don't think I had much of a choice. That was a pretty bad day by any circumstance.
Now the Trump campaign plans to stop holding outdoor rallies. Two sources familiar with his campaign operations tell NBC News. Savannah asking top Trump campaign advisor Jason Miller about that possibility 2 days after the rally.
Is the campaign considering making any security adjustments as the campaign goes forward, these open-air rallies? I mean, the candidates love them and the Secret Service does not.
Well, of course, there'll be security adjustments that are made by the Secret Service in conjunction with the campaign. The Secret Service detail that's with President Trump all the time do an excellent job for President Trump, and we're in full confidence that they'll make sure that President Trump is safe going forward.
And the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who oversees the Secret Service, immediately elevated the agency's deputy director, Ronald Rowe Jr., a 24-year agency veteran, as the acting director. And additionally, the Beaver County Sheriff and Beaver County Emergency Management Office did not respond to an NBC News request for comment about the body cam video that was posted by Senator Grassley. Joe?
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Time now for your midweek forecast with meteorologist Angie Lassman. Angie, what can you tell us?
We are halfway there, Joe. Midweek indeed, and we've still, no surprise, got some of these heat alerts up out west. That's not going to change anytime soon, but this morning, 28 million people across parts of the west are dealing with this. We've got Las Vegas, Sacramento. You can see up into parts of the northern plains included in that, as well as Salt Lake City. Those are just some of the spots that we're going to be watching today to once again reach 100 degrees or higher. Salt Lake City expected to hit 103. That's going to be flirting with, or at least near record temperature for this date. 105 is the current record for this date in Salt Lake City, so we'll see if we can break that. Potentially we'll be near it at least. Grand Junction headed to 100. We've got Lake Havasu City expected to head to 116 degrees. So the heat in place yet again across this region for the day today and tomorrow too. Notice we've got some 90s in there, high 90s at that. A little better though in Salt Lake City as we get into tomorrow, but still above normal in places like Las Vegas. 112 you can expect for your day tomorrow. And more of the same here as we get into the weekend. Even Denver ending up into the mid-90s Friday and Saturday, even warmer by the time Sunday rolls around. We've got Wichita into the 90s as we get through the day, the day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In Las Vegas, we'll stay above 100 for the long haul. That goes well through the weekend. Similar story for our friends in Phoenix, too. Now, the good news is of the weather forecast, of course, yes, it's hot out west, but we've got really quiet conditions across parts of the tropics. That is what we like to see, right? And there's a reason why. We've got some of that Saharan dust working off off of Africa and into the trade winds, and that kind of leaves everything a whole lot quieter. We see the sinking air. We see really difficulty with development across that main region that we normally watch during this time of year. Now, one note is that this kind of lull in activity, that's allowed our water temperatures to heat up even more, and no surprise, we still have record warm water across this region. It's the warmest on date for this, or it's the warmest on record for this date, and we likely will see that continue to warm here as we get through the next couple of weeks. Now, one thing that we're noticing is that we likely will see some more favorable conditions as we get into early August. So we're far from done from this season, with this season yet. We've still got plenty of months to go. And with these really warm waters, that's going to be concerning here as we get through at least July and into August over the next month or so. One note, though, we'll still be dealing with the rain across parts of the southeast, Joe. This is going to last up into the mid-Atlantic, too, through the day today, but we will be most concerned about some flooding across parts of Texas and Louisiana. This front that we've been watching yesterday and today and will be around tomorrow, it sticks around and leaves us just kind of unsettled and with this annoying rain, but some of it could really pack a punch when it comes to rainfall totals, upwards of 7 to 9 inches possible across already saturated grounds in that area.
I forgot my umbrella today. Oh, all right.
I'm sure somebody around here has one you can borrow.
Exactly.
Maybe a meteorologist.
Maybe perhaps you have like a supply, right? An endless supply of umbrellas. All right, Angie, thank you so much. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including the new federal investigation being launched into Delta as passengers across the country continue to reel from heavy delays caused by last week's massive global tech outage. First, though, after the break, an update on the case of Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of murdering those 4 University of Idaho students, why his lawyers are looking to switch up the venue of his upcoming trial next year. Got those stories and more up next.
We are back now with the latest developments in the case against the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students. The lawyers for Bryan Kohberger are now urging a judge to move his trial out of Latah County and switch it to Boise. His team argues the media coverage and public interest make it impossible for him to get a fair trial. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has the details.
Hey guys, months ago we learned Bryan Kohberger's defense team was surveying local residents to gauge their feelings about the man accused of this crime, and now we see why. His attorneys say he simply cannot get a fair trial unless it's moved out of town, blaming media attention for tainting potential jurors.
State versus Bryan Kohberger.
The trial date is now finally set, but the battle to move his trial out of town.
If you deny a change of venue, Mr. Kohberger's constitutional right to a fair trial is denied.
Still wages on. Now, in a new court filing, Brian Kohberger's attorneys argue that Latah County has been utterly corrupted by press coverage, making it one of those rare cases that requires a change in venue. Kohberger is charged with the murders of Madison Mogen, Kayla Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, 4 University of Idaho students found fatally stabbed in their off-campus home in November of 2022. Prosecutors say the trial, currently set for summer 2025, should stay in Latah County, where the killings took place.
We at least owe the people of Latah County the attempt to seat a jury here first, and not just rely on there's been a lot of publicity. There's been a lot of publicity everywhere.
But Kohberger's attorneys argue that the Latah County jury pool is prejudiced by extensive publicity that's ongoing and inflammatory.
Right now, he's being held to have a trial in a county that believes that he is guilty.
The defense, citing a survey they conducted, finding 70% of locals have already formed a guilty opinion of Kohberger, arguing the trial should be held in Idaho's largest county, in Boise. But the state is pushing back.
It's not Moscow. It's not Latah County. It's everywhere. So I don't think that a change of venue is going to solve any of these problems.
Overnight, an attorney for Kayla Gonsalves' family saying they believe it's a no-brainer to keep the case in Latah County.
It would be an incredible hardship on all of the family and friends that are going to be attending this, as well as the witnesses, the prosecution, the defense. Everyone has to move the entire case 6 hours away.
The judge is set to take up this issue on August 29th. Back to you.
All right, Laura, thank you so much.
Time for some international headlines, starting with rival Palestinian factions signing an agreement to form a temporary unity government. NBC's Josh Letterman has that and other world stories. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. These 2 rival Palestinian factions struck this deal to try to form a new government together after mediation by China. So Hamas, which has been in power in the Gaza Strip, and Fatah, which is the largest faction in the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, are agreeing to try to come together in the future as they are looking for solutions for who could actually govern the Gaza Strip after the war is over in Gaza. But the big question is, who is going to actually accept this? Because both the U.S. and Israel insist Hamas cannot be part of the equation in the future going forward in Gaza. Now over to France, where President Emmanuel Macron is delaying the formation of a new government until after the Olympic Games, which of course start on Friday. Macron has to appoint a new prime minister after his centrist coalition failed to win a majority in France's elections, and a leftist coalition came out on top instead. But Macron now says the current government will stay put in a caretaker role until mid-August to allow those Olympics to go off smoothly. And finally, if the weekend felt a little hotter than normal to you, it wasn't just you. The European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service says Sunday was the hottest day on Earth ever recorded. The average global temperature got close to 63 degrees Fahrenheit, beating the record set last July and raising further fears about the fast pace of global warming. The head of the EU Climate Authority says we are now in uncharted territory and expect new heat records to be set regularly going forward. Joe and Vicki, back to you.
Every day, every week, every month, we seem to be breaking new records. All right, Josh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Coming up, we have the latest on the Delta delay chaos that has been plaguing airline passengers for nearly a week now.
Now the federal government wants answers. More on the Transportation Department's new investigation into the airline and how the skies are doing today. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and a bit of good news. Delta Airlines says it is seeing signs of improvement this morning as the company scrambles to get back on schedule. Thousands of Delta flights have been canceled since Friday's global IT outage. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has been on the story ever since then. Tom, give us the update. How are things looking today?
Yeah, Delta just moments ago, sorry as I speak over the PA, Delta moments ago said they now expect minimal delays today and they expect normal operations tomorrow. I just checked. Right now, 1% of Delta flights canceled today. Yesterday at this time, we were talking 13%. So for a lot of people who are showing up at airports nationwide today, they're going to be holding their collective breath. The question Delta passengers are asking this morning, is this the day Delta's meltdown melts away?
It's like 4 days in travel, really, because of all the delays.
Today marks day 6 since Friday's massive computer crash that crippled Delta's operations worldwide, leaving hundreds of thousands of passengers stranded for days and struggling to find or talk to Delta agents.
Delta's going to have to come off some money for this because this has been quite expensive.
Now the Transportation Department is demanding answers.
We've launched an investigation into the situation with Delta.
The big question, why has it taken Delta so long to recover from Friday's global computer crash, while other airlines mostly recovered over the weekend? Are you getting any explanation from Delta why it's taking so long to answer phone calls, why people are standing in 4, 5, 6 hour long lines only to find out that their next flight is canceled? Any explanation from Delta management?
Not any good ones.
In a statement, Delta says its teams are working tirelessly to care for and make it right for customers impacted by delays and cancellations. On Tuesday, Delta canceled nearly 500 flights, more than 5,400 since Friday morning. The most affected airports, Atlanta, Delta's home airport, and key hubs, including Detroit, Minneapolis, LaGuardia, Washington Reagan, Boston, Salt Lake, and JFK.
We haven't gotten any information, and we've all been wearing the same clothes for 2 days now.
With misplaced luggage piling high at many airports, the challenge now is finding the right bag.
I would want my luggage now. I want things to go back to normal because I plan on doing some traveling.
It's sort of like being on Gilligan's Island, going for a short little tour and not being sure when you're going to get off the island.
Yeah, one more problem here. Delta has had an awful lot of unaccompanied minors getting stranded in airports nationwide. That has got a lot of parents very angry, some of them unable to get their kid from one point to another point, giving up and driving hundreds of miles to get to their child. Delta says it's working on that. It suspended unaccompanied minor travel on Tuesday, but they've had several days of unaccompanied children stuck in airports nationwide. Back to you.
That's another major nightmare. I didn't even think about that. All right, Tom Costello, thank you so much. We have with us now travel expert Mark Elwood for more on this new investigation into Delta. Mark, good morning.
Good morning.
So as we heard Tom saying, this is now the 6th day of flight cancellations. Thankfully, things do appear to be improving. But what was it about Delta that made things so complicated with this computer outage? And what do you think the investigation needs to focus on?
So what Delta said the problem was that it was its busiest weekend of the year. And essentially it had a problem that the planes and the staff weren't in the right place, that the system that coordinated that melted down. But I think the biggest problem is an image issue. We think of Delta charges us more and says, we're the best airline, we're the straight A student, and it got an F for performance. And the big shortfall there means that's why, if other airlines have a few problems, we're less surprised. We were very disappointed in Delta. It's sort of like we're like a parent looking at Delta saying, you could do better.
Right. Yeah, I think that's good. And a lot of people are saying that right now. I mean, Secretary Buttigieg says they've received at least 3,000 complaints specific to the situation. Honestly, that number sounds low based on everything we've had. Does it look like today or tomorrow things will be back on track? And bigger picture, long term, what does this mean for Delta, since it's always had this sort of feeling that this is the best airline and they can't do anything wrong?
Look, I think the CEO has said it's going to take a couple of days. I wouldn't assume that everything will be tickety-boo till at least the weekend. There are going to still be some knock-ons there. I think long term, the way Delta can claw back a little bit of our love is to be a little less expensive. And I suspect we'll see Delta softening its prices to lure us back on and essentially to say, look, remind yourself of how great we are. Treat yourself. Take a Delta flight. So I'd watch those prices.
I like that, Mark. I sure hope that comes true. All right. What should folks do if they're still caught in this kind of tailwind with the delays and cancellations? What are some good tips to keep in mind all the time about what we can do when we're stuck?
So look, when your flight is delayed or cancelled, there are different reasons for it. And a lot more compensation kicks in if it's a controlled problem. And on Friday, the DOT said this was a controllable problem. So that means your rights are much greater. And you can go to, the DOT has a website, and you can look for a little pull-down menu there and see each airline, what each airline has committed to do in this circumstance, because it does vary airline by airline. And check your credit cards, because often if you've bought your flight with a credit card, there will be built-in travel insurance, which can support you if you've incurred extra costs like a hotel.
Excellent. All right, Mark Elwood, as always, thank you so much. Learned a lot.
Coming up, we are taking art to a whole new level. After the break, I'm going to introduce you to the Brooklyn artist who's morphing the humble emoji into iconic masterpieces.
But first, if you are looking to save some green at the grocery store, extreme couponing might just be the answer. And I'm not talking about the snipping and clipping of the past. It's all about saving those dollars digitally. I will explain and show you next. Stick around. Welcome back. With inflation keeping grocery prices higher than most of us would like, more Americans are looking for ways to save at the store, and that desire to save is making discounts like coupons more valuable than ever. Now, securing the best deals, it's actually easier than you might think. There's a method to the madness, and I spoke with some experts who gave me some tips to help you arm yourself with the coupons that will make a big difference in your wallet.
We're at $439.79.
It's that satisfying sound that made millions eager to clip and shop.
What is our total?
0, 0, 0. But today, toss those scissors. There's a more efficient way to get in on the couponing craze.
I just got $110 in groceries for $48. Curbside pickup all on my phone. I didn't even have to get out of my jammy jam. This extreme coupon or what?
During the pandemic 4 years ago, Kirsty Torok and her husband lost their jobs. The mom of two turned to extreme couponing to help the family save. How much would you estimate that couponing saves your family each month?
$500, $600, $700 a month.
What would surprise people the most about couponing?
It is not like TLC Extreme Couponing. Now it's all on your phone. You download an app, you scan a barcode or enter your phone number at the register. Your coupons automatically come off. No one has any idea that you're couponing, but you're saving your money immediately at the register.
The average American household spends more than $1,000 a month on groceries, and prices have risen 25% since 2020. Last year, more than 90% of shoppers used a coupon.
In order to save money, you've got to change your mindset and break out of your routine a little bit.
Joni Demmer is the co-founder of The Crazy Coupon Lady. What is your top strategy when it comes to couponing?
I think shopping around and just learning the price points. So if you're buying cereal every week, make sure you know what it is you're paying. Drugstores are my personal favorite for a starting line because the loyalty program there and all of the coupons available in those apps make it really, really easy to save at least 50%.
She says this is what you need to keep in mind when starting. First, pick one store and join the loyalty program to get the member discounts and rewards. Look for store and manufacturer coupons. Most can be found in the store's app or online. And think outside the box. Determine what you buy based on sale prices. I put these tips to the test at CVS.
First up, cereal. I'm going to show you how much you can save. You see the Cheerios here. They're on sale. Extra big deal, $1.99. You think that's a good price? Well, open up the CVS app, search for the manufacturer coupon, boom. You save $1 on 2 cereals. So I'm going to get the Cheerios and some Lucky Charms. Next up, an expensive item, laundry detergent. I did my research ahead of time, so I know it's on sale at the store, and there's a coupon in the app. Plus, get this, if you spend $25 or more in laundry items, CVS is giving an extra $8 in extra bucks rewards towards your future purchase.
CVS Cash you can use on future purchases, similar to other reward programs like Target, which offers store gift cards based on your purchases.
Filling up my cart. This item is on sale. I found another coupon for $2 off in the app. Let's get some coffee. Time to check out and see how much I saved. Okay, so before I apply my app with all the coupons, it's $200.64. Moment of truth. Scan it for me, Ricardo. Look at these deductions. Oh, we're under $100. Is that the total?
It is, absolutely.
$96.96. That is awesome. I feel like a heavyweight coupon champion right now. Boom, yes. Those CVS coupons are so legendary for being long. That was actually 50% savings just using the coupons in our app. I also received $29 in extra bucks rewards, so I can use those towards my next purchase. It is legit, it works, and it really isn't that hard, Joe. We all are, used to shopping with apps these days.
That is a lot of savings right there. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, now to some more money news. Google's parent company, Alphabet, suffering on Wall Street this morning.
CNBC's Silvana Hanau joins us with that and other news. Hey, good morning, Silvana.
Hey, Vicky. Hey, Joe. Good morning to you. Yeah, well, shares of Alphabet are under pressure as growth in Google's ad sales slowed in the latest quarter. Now, that's putting a dent in Alphabet's primary source of revenue as it spends more money on AI investments, such as its Gemini search engine. Revenue from YouTube also missing analyst estimates. Also, now shares of Tesla are set to slide today as earnings miss forecasts for the fourth straight quarter. Profits are being squeezed by price cuts for Tesla's electric vehicles and higher spending on AI technology to convert those EVs into self-driving cars and build humanoid robots for factory work and other tasks. The company says it's on track to produce new vehicles, including a more affordable model in the first half of next year, and has scheduled the event to unveil its robotaxi on October 10th. Speaking of Tesla, Elon Musk is pushing back on reports saying he's donating $45 million a month to a super PAC supporting former President Trump leading up to the November election. In an interview with conservative commentator Jordan Peterson, Musk says the report is not true. Trump referenced the report from the Wall Street Journal at a recent rally. Musk says he did help create the super PAC and is making donations at a, quote, lower level, guys.
All right, Silvana, thank you so much.
Now we're going to introduce you to an artist who recreates icons out of icons. She is a fashion stylist from Brooklyn who has taken the word emoji, which is a noun, and made it a verb, as in, I want to emoji you. Take a look. Like a modernized Monet, Lauren Edelstein makes art that, from a distance, clearly looks like Dolly Parton, Britney Spears, Snoop Dogg. Okay, let's take a closer look. But when your eyes are inches away, you see something else. His beard is made out of ants.
Yep.
His goatee is made out of crickets.
Yes.
How do you even do this?
I see an emoji. I know that ants have a really great texture that can look like hair. You know, I'm an emoji scientist.
Except her lab is tiny and mobile. You see, her canvas is her phone.
I use Instagram stories and I drag emoji on top of emoji on top of emoji to create the picture.
She discovered the emoji keyboard could be her painting palette 8 years ago when she created this picture of a vintage jacket using purple umbrellas, yellow ducks, and pink purses. Before long, she was doing celebrities, making icons out of icons, she says. Are those peacocks for the irises?
They are peacocks.
And that's a pool ball?
That is a disco ball, which I really loved because I feel like Dolly Parton is someone that would have a disco ball in her eye.
Moments like this bring her emoji joy.
And I think that's sort of my favorite part is watching people discover the picture and say, oh my God, his beard is hedgehogs.
When people have those reactions, what goes through your mind?
It's the best. It's so satisfying. I love the emoji art and emojis as a medium because I think there's a relatability to it. And I think they have such an inherent sense of humor.
A sense of wonder helps too.
I think the world appears in emoji form in my head.
Walking through Brooklyn, Lauren is constantly thinking about how she'd emoji things.
Or if I'm seeing a bush that might be made of Christmas trees and the green Speedo on the edges.
The green Speedo.
The green Speedo is right there.
But her favorite emoji is the jellyfish.
It honestly looks glow in the dark. The color, I think, in my professional opinion, is the best color at emoji.
If Apple is listening right now, what are the emojis you need?
I would love a croc. I think that would be very funny.
She's willing to be patient, a virtue that comes in handy when some of your pieces take months, even years to finish, which does prompt reactions like this.
You have a lot of time on your hands. What is your screen time? How did you do this?
Let's address the screen time question.
Yeah.
What is your screen time?
My screen time is just a message that pops up and says, are you okay? Send help.
Yet all that screen time led to some good old-fashioned FaceTime. Lauren recently hosted her first art show. It was titled Her Nails Are Chili Peppers, inspired by her Dolly portraits.
It was amazing. It was honestly, I was blown away. It was so fun. When you find the joy in it and something feels creatively fulfilling, it feels very easy to just propel it forward.
After all, the possibilities are endless. Truly iconic. Lauren's currently working on her next art show. She does have one more request for Apple, by the way. She says she would love a ravioli emoji. There you go.
I'd love to see what she could do with it. Incredible.
She says it's like it'd have a little texture.
Yeah.
I go, doesn't that seem kind of ordinary? No, she could use that.
She could use that. That beige color, all
Exactly.
of it. I want to check out the jellyfish. I didn't know it was so multidimensional. All right, coming up, if you can't wait until Friday's opening ceremony to get your fill of Olympic magic.
Well, a few events are actually starting early, like today. After the break, what we'll be watching for when Team USA and Team France hit the pitch in just a few hours. Stick with us. This is Morning News Now. All right, welcome back. We have some breaking news this morning. Salt Lake City has been picked to host the 2034 Winter Olympics. It's a return to the same site that hosted the 2002 Winter Games.
Yeah, USA is going to be big. We've got LA next Summer Games as well. But before all that, we are looking ahead to the Summer Olympics in Paris, which is now just days from the opening ceremony. Some sporting events are actually kicking off today.
NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons is in Paris for us once again. Keir, how are preps coming along for the opening ceremony on Friday?
Well, it seems pretty calm, honestly, Joe. We're actually down here above the Seine, on the river, if you like. You want a little preview, a little look around? Let me show you. That's the Palais Royal behind me there, and the Pont Royal along there. Now, you can see the bleachers on that famous bridge. There are bleachers on almost every bridge along the river here, and you can see just across too. Look at that, where people are going to be seated as they watch this multi-mile long parade on the river, history making. Now, let's just get Carlos, our cameraman, to bring us across so I can show you the other side. And the Grand Palais in the distance, that's the building with the glass. More bleachers along the river here, further along the Alexander III bridge. Just imagine Team USA and all the other teams along this river with the fireworks and the celebrations happening on Friday. It's going to be spectacular, and yet you just wouldn't know right now. It's quiet. You hear that? There's a lot of security, but, you know, the French really know how to do this.
Oh, Keir, I can just imagine it with that tour that you just gave us all around the bridge there. Talk to us about the sporting events that people can start watching today.
That's right. Well, there's the soccer coming up. Of course, we in Europe call it football. It's France versus the US later today. That inevitably is going to be a challenge. The French are pretty good at playing football, and it's their Olympics. But that's an event that's getting started. Listen, you know, it's interesting, isn't it, that some of the sports begin before the actual opening ceremony, but there's so much sport in the next few weeks, they just got to pack it all in.
Keir, we only have like 30 seconds left. Remind us the star U.S. athletes we're going to be keeping an eye on over the next few weeks.
Well, obviously, you know, Simone Biles, Kaylee Ledecky. I'd look out for Noah Lyles. He got the bronze in the 200 back in Tokyo. If he can get gold in the 100 and the 200 at this Olympics, that will be the first time since 1984. Watch out for that.
All right. Noah Lyles has quickly become a big face of these games. Keir, thank you so much. We appreciate your reporting as always. Have a great day out there. It's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.